Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Welcome to this morning's class. It's from Chaitanya Charitamrita and Adi Lila, chapter 5, which is entitled Glories of Nityananda Balaram. And this morning we're doing text 84. So without further ado, we'll start the class. I'm actually sitting in for His Holiness Chandamali Swami, who is traveling now, actually coming close to our area in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari, Gopi Janavallabha Girivadadhari, Yashodanandana Vrajajhanaranjana, Yashodanandana Vrajajhanaranjana, Yamunatira Vanachari, Yamunatira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadadhari, Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivadadhari, Yashodanandana Vrajajhanaranjana, Yashodanandana Vrajajhanaranjana, Jamunatira Vanachari, Jamunatira Vanachari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Privajikacharya Astottara Satasisi Maharaj Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramhansa Privajikacharya Astottara Satasisi Maharaj Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai ISKCON founder Charya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasari Gaur Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyam Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Mathura Dham Ki Jai Navadvip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Swami Ki Jai Ganga Mahi Ki Jai Jamuna Mahi Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Hare Krishna Mahamantra Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Gaur. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees. Hare Krishna. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Sri Guru and Guru Srila Prabhupada. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Tirtha Swami Namine Namaste Krishna Padaya Prabhupada Siddhartha Shri Gaura Karuna Shakti Bhakti Tirtha Namine Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So, Chaitanya Chaitamrita, Adi Lila, chapter 5, which is entitled The Glories of Nityananda Balaram, text 84. Jagrihe Purusham Rupam Bhagavan Mahad Adivi Sambhutam Shodasakalam Adoloka Sikshaya Jagrihe Purusham Rupam Bhagavan Mahad Adivi Sambhutam Shodasakalam Adoloka Sikshaya Jagrihe Purusham Rupam Bhagavan Mahad Adivi Shambhutam Surasakalam Adoloka Sikshaya. Word for word translation. Jagrihe accepted. Purusham, the Purusha incarnation. Rupam, the form. Bhagavan, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mahat Adivi, by the total material energy, etc. Samhutam, created. Sudasha, 16. Kalam, energies. Ado, originally. Loka, the material worlds. Shikshaya, with the desire to create. Translation by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. In the beginning of the creation, the Lord expanded himself in the form of the Purusha incarnation, accompanied by all the ingredients of material creation. First, he created the 16 principal energies suitable for creation. This was for the purpose of manifesting the material universes. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is a verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3, Text 1. The commentary of Madhva on Srimad Bhagavatam mentions that the following 16 spiritual energies are present in the spiritual world. 1, Shri, 2, Gu, 3, Lila, 4, Kanti, 5, Kirti, 6, Tushti, 7, Gir, 8, Pushti, 9, Satya, 10, Jnana, 11, Jaya Utkarshini, 12, Vimala, 13, Yogamaya, 14, Pravi, 15, Ishana, and 16, Anugraha. In his commentary on the Laghu Bhagavatamrita, Sri Baladev Vidyabhushan has said that the above energies are also known by 9 names: Vimala, Utkarshini, Jnana, Kriya, Yoga, Pravi, Satya, Ishana, and Anugraha. In the Bhagavad Sandarbha of Sri Jiva Goswami, text 117, they are described as Shri, Pusti, Gir, Kanti, Kirti, Tushti, Ila, Jaya, Vidya, Maya, Samvid, Sandini, Ladini, Bhakti, Murti, Vimala, Yoga, Pravi, Ishan, Anugraha, etc. All these energies act in different spheres of the Lord's supremacy. Om Gyanati Mirandesya, Gyana Gyana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshnaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharini Nirvishesha Sundavari Paschatya Desacharini. Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Padayati Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Guratiche Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadha Siva Shri Gaura Bhaktavinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama Ram Ram Hare Hare. So the English translation again. In the beginning of the creation, the Lord expanded himself in the form of the Purusha incarnation, accompanied by all the ingredients of material creation. First, he created the 16 principal energies suitable for creation. This was the purpose of manifesting the material universes. So, the creation is described here. The beginning part, what the Lord did, and specifically, it talks about the the Purusha incarnation. And since this text, especially from the translation, we can see that the last line is, this was for the purpose of manifesting the material universes. So we are talking about the Purusha incarnation, specifically Mahavishnu, or Karanudakshaya Vishnu, and Karanavashaya Vishnu. There's 3 different names. So he's the one that establishes the universes. Now, as a side, comment on this, the Lord, as the incarnation of Krishna, the Kala incarnation, that is the expansion of the expansion of the expansion of the expansion of the expansion. 5 times till you get to Mahavishnu. He also establishes time. Time is from Mahavishnu. Time is the one that marks different events that happen. Now, it's not too difficult to actually even prove that Mahavishnu is the one that manifests time. Because Mahavishnu, through his breathing, when he breathes out, the universes come to be. And when he breathes in, the universes go back in his body. So at the time that the universes are in his body, material time is not necessary anymore because there are no planets, there are no universes, there's nothing. It's all in the Lord's body. So when he breathes out, the universes come to be, and then there's subsequent creation, Brahma, Gaudaksai Vishnu, Siddhardaksai Vishnu, all expansions from the Lord getting into the whole creation. Then it becomes necessary for time to be established. So it is Mahavishnu that establishes time. But time is also relative. For example, Lord Brahma's time in this universe is 100 years. His lifetime is over after 100 years. He's lived half the time now. Hmm? But his time is not like our time. His time, when it ticks, we can say that it's going really slow because many, many years will have passed by before 1 second of Lord Brahma's time ticks. Specifically, I did the calculation by the mercy of Guru and Guranga. Lord Brahma's 1 second is 100,000 years for us. Lord Brahma's 1 second is 100,000 years. Therefore, when he took the cowherd boys and the cows for a period of 1 year, hiding them in the cave, that's a split second of his time. So time is relative like that. That one, Einstein got it right. Theory of relativity. But again, he did so many assumptions, so we won't bring his name into this. But yes, time is relative. It depends on the body. Maitreya Muni describes it in great detail in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's also mentioned here that the Lord created 16 principal energies suitable for his creation. Now, as Srila Prabhupada also commented, this text is exactly the same as the text in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 3, and Text 1. So there, Srila Prabhupada describes a little more about this particular text, the description of the activities of Mahavishnu. So in the purport, Srila Prabhupada describes that the Bhagavad Gita states that the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, maintains these material universes by extending his plenary expansions. The first plenary expansion is actually one whose title is on this chapter that we're talking about, Balaram. He also expands everything in the spiritual world is from Balaram, or the manifestation is from his energy. Now, he also expands into the four principal forms, Vasudev, Anirudh, Sankarshan, and Pradyumna. And they expand to Narayan. Narayan, for each spiritual planet, Narayan is the king there. For each spiritual planet. Narayan expands into the second set of the Chaturvyuha, Vasudev, Anirudh, Sankarshan, and this second Sankarshan is called Mahasankarshan. And there's a reason. And of course, there's also Pradyumna. Through the Mahasankarshan of this second set of the Chaturvyuha, the four forms of the Lord, then Mahavishnu comes to being, expanding into Mahavishnu. And then the universes come. So it is Krishna, that's the principal personality, the supreme controller for all things. Take it like the CEO of a company or the owner of a company, a big company. So he doesn't do all the work himself. He has assistants who are also empowered assistants who do different things. So the Lord is like that. Sri Krishna is the supreme personality, but through his incarnations for the material world, he expands until Mahavishnu gets the universes coming out and the material world is established that way. So, Srila Prabhupada continues that the original personality of Godhead, Vasudeva, or Lord Krishna, who is as famous as the son of King Vasudeva or King Nanda. It's through Vasudeva and Devaki that Krishna came to be, but then the foster parents were Nanda and Yashoda. So yes, the son of both. We can say it like that. Krishna is full of all opulences, all potencies, all fame, all beauty, all knowledge, and all renunciation. Now, these are also described in the 16 energies created. Shri is the potency of wealth, and Kanti is the potency of beauty. Kirti is the potency of fame. Tushti is the potency of renunciation. Gir is the potency of knowledge. And Pushti is the potency of strength. So those are listed in, these are 6 of them listed in the 16 energies. But it is also a description of Krishna. So many things about Krishna merged together in terms of understanding of it. So a part of his opulence is manifested as impersonal Brahman, and part of his opulences are manifested as Paramatma. So these 3 Purusha features, the Karno Dakshaya Vishnu, which we talked about more, that the universes come on, that's the first of the 3. And then the others, known as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and the Shirodakshaya Vishnu. Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is the one, the next expansion from Mahavishnu. And there's a Garbhodakshaya Vishnu for each universe. All the universes come from Mahavishnu. And then his expansion, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, is sometimes is referred to as the soul of the universe. Just like we have a body, and then there's one soul in the heart area of our bodies. If you take the universe as one body, then the soul for the universe that makes it work, because our bodies don't work unless the soul is inside. So the universe works based on the potency of Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. He's also the one that brought forth, if you like, for lack of a better word, Lord Brahma, and also trained Lord Brahma for the subsequent creation, changing the universes into different planets and things on the planets, and creating demigods and so many assignments that he gave to each one of them to continue with the subsequent creation. So the innumerable universes come from the skin holes of this Mahavishnu. And in each of the universes, the Lord enters as Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. Srila Prabhupada continues that in the Bhagavad Gita, it's mentioned that the material world is created at certain intervals and again destroyed. So the creation and destruction is done by the Supreme Will because of the conditioned souls or the Nityabhada living beings. So the Nityabhada or the eternally conditioned souls, they have the sense of individuality or what we call the false ego. And that dictates to them their sense of enjoyment. They really are constitutionally unable to have this, but they go after it anyway, sense of enjoyment. And of course, it's not news to us. We see it all around us. People are working hard, but they think that the best thing to do is whatever we get for what we worked hard for, we use it to enjoy ourselves. But actually, we cannot enjoy ourselves because this body, when enjoyed for sense gratification, also gives problems. Any type of sense gratification we involve ourselves in, we pay with our bodies later on. There's distress given to the body. Therefore, this place is not designed, this place, the material world, is not designed for our enjoyment. Krishna can enjoy any and every way, but we're not like that. We're supposed to serve him, and through service to him, if we decide to, on our own, voluntarily serve him, then our life becomes sublime, our life becomes purified, and our lives become happy that way. Outside of Krishna, everything that we try to do is useless. So even the material things that we do, we should really endeavor to use our intelligence to connect everything to the service of Krishna, directly or indirectly. We can involve ourselves in bhakti. Bhakti yoga has specific instructions from the spiritual master as to what to do and what to avoid. But there's also karma yoga. When we work, whatever that we get, we on our own give to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Some of the fruits of it. If we need to subsist or live on some of it, that's obviously, granted because the body has to be sustained. But we always should think in terms of giving to the Lord. In fact, we will grow spiritually if we think of giving to the Lord first, rather than giving to ourselves first. And it can come down to the nitty-gritty, simple things that we do in our lives on a daily basis. Whatever you think of, put Krishna first. How can I connect this with Krishna? Even when it comes to paying bills, and the majority of us, if not all of us, we pay bills. Pay Krishna's bill first. That's called, as Graham says you have to do, that's called charity. Give to Krishna first. The first bill should be for Krishna. Now, Krishna notices everything. So if we put Krishna first, he'll put us first. And yesterday we were listening to a lecture, recorded lecture by Srila Prabhupada. And Srila Prabhupada used his example to express just how kind Krishna is. He made a statement that stuck with me, and every day from this point on, I think I remember every single day, because it makes it easy to think about Krishna. And if you think about Krishna, chances of going back to Godhead become very high. He says, "Man mana bhakto madhyajimam namaskuru." Always think of me and become my devotee. And Srila Prabhupada said in that lecture, if you think of Krishna 24 hours, he will think of you 24, that is, if you think about Krishna 26 hours a day, 24 hours a day, he would think about you 26 hours a day. Everybody started laughing. But they knew the point he was making. You think about Krishna 24 hours a day, he'll think about you 26 hours. He's that kind. He also said, Srila Prabhupada said, if you do one thing in service to the Lord, Krishna will do 100 things for you. So we really don't need to try to find happiness anywhere else. The Supreme Personality of Godhead that owns everything will actually outdo us if we turn our attention to him. He will actually outdo us. So that's why Srila Prabhupada described it like that. We know there's a day, 24 hours in the day, but if you think about Krishna all the time, he will favor you so much more than even your thoughts of him all of the time. So even though we were troublesome and wound up in the material world, still because of his mercy, he's here. He's here, his representative is here, the spiritual master. He himself is here in his incarnation as the Paramatma, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu. That's the third Vishnu. Mahavishnu is the first, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, second, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, third, in the order of expansions of the Lord, incarnations of the Lord. But he's with us, and he's everywhere. So it's the material world, not the best place for a human being, not the best place for any soul, actually. But because of his mercy and because of his love for us, especially because of his love for us, he comes as Paramatma and tries to turn our attention to him so we can go home. We should be very grateful to Srila Prabhupada. The more we hear and the more we get a sense of what Krishna Loka is like, we wouldn't want to stay here. We will always think about Krishna Loka and want to go there. Srila Prabhupada has given us the greatest gem, the greatest gift anybody can give. Specifically that planet, where the pure devotees of the Lord don't know him as a supreme controller, but the one that they love the most because of what he does. and because of what he says. And he is so real, it's not funny. So real in terms of the things that he does. Mm-hmm. All emotions, as my spiritual master Bhakti Maharaj explained to me, all emotions come from Krishna. Even when it comes to crying, Krishna can cry at different times that would make you melt. Your heart will just melt for him. I'll give one quick example. It's been given here to those who normally come in Harrisburg, but for the sake of Harrisburg Zoom, but for the sake of those who are also on there today. He met one of his devotees. He means Krishna. Now that devotee is called, in the material world, he was in the material world, Gopakumara. This is described in Brihad Bhagavatamrita. When Gopakumara finally made it back to the spiritual world, and not only the spiritual world, but Krishna Loka in particular, Loka Vrindavan. Krishna at that time was tending to the cows. So Gopakumara did not see him right away. First, he saw some older gopis. The older gopis do not mean that they are, all broken apart like the way, material older people look like. No. But they were the old, like the parental type level gopis. And they're the young gopis too. But at that time, he met the older ones. And he was trying to ask them where Krishna was. They did not respond to his requests. He asked at least 3 times. And Gopakumara began to wonder, can they really hear me? But that was not the point. Krishna had gone to tend to the cows with his cowherd boyfriends. And those gopis were missing Krishna. And so in that Vipalamba seva, that separation from him, they were in a very somber mood. And that's why they didn't even realize Gopakumara was trying to get their attention. Finally, one of them turned and saw him, and he came to him. And then when Gopakumara inquired about Krishna, then he was directed, go to Nanda's village. This is here. Go this direction. So he went there, started the gate. So there's a gate to enter Nanda's palace. There's also a pathway on the side. And this was what was explained to Gopakumara. At that time, he met the younger gopis also. And they all told him Krishna will be coming down this place. So they were all waiting for Krishna. Mother Yashoda and Mother Rohini, they had prepared items on an offering plate, just like we use as pujaris, and to honor him when he comes. So after a while, they heard Krishna's flute. They didn't see him, but his flute, they could hear it, so they knew that Krishna was close, he was coming. And all the living entities that's like that in Krishna Loka, everything is alive. Actually, in the whole Vaikuntha, everything is alive. Everything turned their attention to the sound of the flute. It is very, very enchanting. My Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Maharaj describes it in American words. Krishna's flute is far out. When you hear his music, it will blow your mind. So finally, in the anticipation, he shows up. Then he sees Gopakumara. And then he runs to Gopakumara and gives him a huge embrace. And Krishna was so happy to see Gopakumara. And he called him by his, Krishna called Gopakumara by his spiritual name, Sarupa. That's when Brihad reveals that the spiritual world name for Gopakumara is Sarupa. And by the way, we all have our spiritual world names too. Every one of us has forgotten what it is. But we'll find out if we chant properly and steadily and serve well and not offend anybody, we'll get back to the spiritual world with our own names and no more use of these material bodies. Anyway, to come to the point, Krishna was so emotional to see Sarupa, Gopakumara. He literally passed out. Krishna started crying. Krishna fainted. And then the news got out that Krishna had fainted. Mother Yashoda, Nanda Maharaj, Mother Rohini, they all came out and they were shocked. to see Krishna in that state. What happened to Gopakumara? Gopakumara was also so overwhelmed, he also fainted. So just the meeting of Krishna and his pure devotee that had come from the material world, all of these events started unfolding one after another. Just the meeting. So that is Krishna. So many things that happen. This is just a little whiff of so many pastimes that's explained by Maharaj Pariksit. In Bhagavatamrita, Maharaj Pariksit is the one talking. In Srimad Bhagavatam, Maharaj Pariksit is the one hearing. But in Bhagavatamrita, he's the one talking to his mother, Uttara, just before Takshaka, the snake bird, came to take his life. And these are some of the details said by Shukadeva Goswami that Maharaj Pariksit was narrating to Uttara, his mother. So, yes, that is the spiritual world, and that's how wonderful it is. It's a little whiff of what it is like. But here in the material world, the creation is set up, Mahatattva is let loose. And speaking about Mahatattva, that is all of the ingredients for the material world. When the Mahatattva is not out, then that's called Pradhan. When it comes out with the three modes of material energy, then that's called Prakriti. So that's the difference between Prakriti and Pradhan. Totally unmanifested, that's Pradhan. And when it's manifested with the mode of ignorance, mode of passion, mode of goodness, all ready to operate, then it's called Prakriti. So the Mahatattva is divided into 16 parts. The 5 gross elements and 11 working instruments or senses. That's what comprises 16. Now, if you've been around a little bit or been listening, you know that there are certain words, even though Prabhupada explains it, fortunately for us, in a very simple way, that there's always several steps to each point that can be delved into. So yes, the 16 parts of 5 gross, earth, water, fire, air, ether, the 10 knowledge acquiring, the working senses, knowledge acquiring senses, 5 each, and then the mind. So 5 plus 5 plus 1, that's 11. You add it to the other 5 gross senses, that would be 16. So that's the way Srila Prabhupada explains it. Now, now let's look at a few of them. A few of these 16. Now, they also have other definitions. We've explained the simple one, 5 gross, working senses, knowledge acquiring senses, 5, 5, 5, and then the mind, 16. They need one more, another 16. Now, Shri, Bhu, and Lila of the 16, that's explained in Chaitanya Bhagavat. And Chaitanya Bhagavat obviously is about Lord Chaitanya. So, as Krishna, the energies are explained one way. As Lord Chaitanya, the energies are explained in another way. That's the way Sanskrit plays out. What can I say? The energies are also personalities. So in Chaitanya Bhagavat Adi Lila, chapter 1, text 2, this is explained. And we'll just say parts of it. First, it is praising the Lord. Oh, my Lord, you are eternally existing in the past, present, and future, but you are the son of Jagannath Mishra. We're talking about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu now. I offer my obeisances unto you along with your associates, your divine servants, your devotee servants, and also your sons, your Goswami disciples. You call their sons. And of course, we know that sometimes we look at our spiritual masters as our fathers, our spiritual fathers. Now, so a few of these relating to Lord Chaitanya. These consorts of Lord Chaitanya are Vishnu Priya. He is the Bhu Shakti. Lakshmi Priya is the Sri Shakti. And then the Dham itself, Navadvip, is the Nila. Nila, or also called Lila Shakti. So that's Sri, Bhu, and Lila related to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His first wife, his second wife, and then where he was actually doing his pastimes at. Sri, Bhu, and Lila. Now, we've already talked a little bit more about Sri also being the potency of wealth, and Pushti being the potency of strength, and Kirti, fame, and Tushti, renunciation. I said that earlier. Now, the Bhu Shakti also is connected to Sandini, the internal potency. And Sandini is existence. So the earth is also part of it. Now, so a few more. We won't describe all 16 and how they relate to different aspects of the Lord. But we'll just go over a few of them. Some of them I talked about already. So we'll talk about a few more and then we'll actually wrap it up. So one of them mentioned is called Pravi. And Pravi is the cause of variegated bliss and ability. So that's a combination of bliss and also knowledge. And Ishan is the cause of the energy of full control. We call Krishna the supreme controller. So the things about Krishna have all their names, and sometimes they are even personalities. The Brihad Bhagavatamrita explains one particular pastime where the different Shastras were in a debate, if you can imagine that. There is the personality, if you can imagine, the personality of the Puranas, specifically the personality of Srimad Bhagavatam. So there are personalities. If we take the earth, we see it as a planet. But Mother Bhumi is a personality. Like that. So Maya's personality, Durga, Maya, Yoga Maya, it comes in different pastimes of Krishna as a particular personality. Like that. Now, the one that matters to us the most, so we don't get too confused, is Anugraha. And what is Anugraha? Anugraha is the mercy of the Lord. And that's what we better be made of, because that's what we need in order to get out of here. We are not perfect in any way. We do not have perfect senses. Our senses are limited. But by the mercy of the Lord, only because we've turned our attention by our own sweet will to chant the Hare Krishna mantra and to follow the path of Bhakti Yoga, we are liable, or we are likely to get the mercy of the Lord. So in these energies, 16 energies, Anugraha, mercy. So that is also a personality. It's a she. And it's described here in Chaitanya Bhagavad that she manifests herself in the Lord's lotus eyes in varied splendor. To the one that is a Dasya, a servant, the Dasya Bhakta, Anugraha, mercy, is compassion. She's compassion. To the one that is in the Vatsalya Ras, as a parent, she is filial fondness, fondness of the son, of the S-O-N, the son of Lord, son of Yashoda and so on. And to the Madhurya Bhakta, like the Gopis are, she is the heart-melting magnetic power of attraction to the Lord. So these are some of the details about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, 16 energies. And Srila Prabhupada broke it down first into what we know of, the 5 senses, major ones, the knowledge acquiring, and then also the other senses are all the way up to the mind. So here, in the spiritual world, The living entity gets to relate to the Lord in different rasas. And according to Brihad Bhagavatamrita, the spiritual living entities, this is extra information, that's us now when we go back to the spiritual world, can expand into multiple personalities or things in different rasas at the same time. Now, we know that as individual souls, we have our Siddha Swarup, the original way we are in the spiritual world. But the Brihad Bhagavatamrita also describes that we can expand into multiple personalities for different relations with the Lord. For example, Sridham. Sridham is a cowherd boy. In Goloka Vrindavan, Sridham plays the role of a cowherd boy, just like the other cowherd boys. In Gokul, he is there as Sridham. Gokul is in the material world in India. Now, is he present in Vaikuntha and the other planets? The answer is yes. Sridham expands to none other than the Garuda. The Garuda, the bird carrier of Lord Vishnu, is actually Sridham. Sridham, the same soul, expands like that and serves Lord Vishnu in Vaikuntha, but he's also a cowherd boy in Goloka Vrindavan and also Goku. So, and he's not the only one. All of them can if they want to, which means we also can. And I'm not saying it as an assumption at all. In Brihad Bhagavatamrita, there were those who met up with Gopakumara when they were guiding him back to the spiritual world, and they were from the spiritual world, and they told him, we all can expand into different things based on what we want to do. And Srila Prabhupada says it's all voluntary. So expansions of the Lord are expansions totaling everything. And we don't have that, but we also can expand for different activities in relation to the Lord, just like the example we gave here. Vishaka, I'll read one more example, then we go on. Vishaka is a gopi. We know that. But Vishaka is also the river Jamuna. Same personality. Viraja, which is the river in the spiritual world, she's also a gopi. So multiple roles are quite common. One doesn't have to play multiple roles all the time. They can be the one personality, the original Swarup, but there's so much variety there that we can actually do different things. So then we think of ourselves, if all of that ability is there, what are we doing here in the material world? So we need anugraha, the Lord's mercy. It's by the Lord's mercy that we will receive the favor of the Lord, and that will give us the opportunity to go back home. And then the versatility will be there, just like some of the things that we have described now. So there's far more to life in the spiritual world than we know. The books can't describe it all. But as some of them break down, if we talk about Lord Chaitanya, of course, there's Chaitanya Charitamrita, but also Chaitanya Bhagavat describes so many of the pastimes with more details added to it. And these are all to excite devotees so that we will stop thinking about wealth and those kind of things at the material level and think more about what is waiting for us in the spiritual world. So that this time, there's so much mercy that's been built in to Lord Chaitanya, coming as a devotee, teaching us how to get or to fall in love with Krishna, to see the Prabhupada, making it even possible for why we get distracted so many times by material things that we can even chant 16 instead of 64 rounds of japa and still be allowed to go back home. So much mercy there. And see, the Prabhupada says we should take advantage of it. And the final advice to us is finish this business here so you can be part of the spiritual world that some of we described some of through Brihad Bhagavatamrita. There's so much versatility, it's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So many things, even the pastimes of Krishna, that we may know of in Srimad Bhagavatam, involving Kaliya, involving Keshi, involving, Arishta. There's far more to it, involving Krishna and the gopis. Krishna and the gopis were involved in the pastimes of Kaliya the snake. You wouldn't find that in Srimad Bhagavatam, but it is in Brihad Bhagavatam Gita. And it is interesting how the whole thing played out until finally Kaliya the snake gave up. So there's so much more. And it's exciting this time to be a Krishna conscious person when there's so much of a break given to us, giving us a chance to go back home. So we'll be cheating ourselves if we don't take this process seriously. All we have to do is chant the holy name. When you hear more about the pastimes, hopefully that will excite us to want to connect with Krishna in love more. But chant the holy name of the Lord with fervor, with enthusiasm, with determination, and even sometimes with desperation, because after all, we're in a place that's jail. Desperate to get out. Do all the things that Guru says to do. And one big secret that devotees need to understand, we'll end with that, and that is when you're serving devotees, serve with the same intensity and commitment as you serve Guru. Let's say it again. In serving devotees, what we call regular devotees, serve them with the same intensity and commitment the way we serve the spiritual master. If we do that, Krishna will be so pleased with us, we will advance. That's how you get out of the Kanishta or the third class mentality. Don't take any devotee lightly, whether he's younger than you or came only a few days and you've been in Krishna consciousness for years. It doesn't make any difference. Because Lord Chaitanya was also born at some point, but he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead 540 years ago, approximately. He didn't say, I'm Supreme Personality of Godhead. So treat people just like you treat Guru. Now, that's not my advice. Guess who said that? Ramanujacharya. He was on his deathbed, and his disciples were around him, and they were all very morose. Because, of course, Guru was about to leave. Just like when Sri Prabhupada was dying, people were also very, some of us are gurus who left their bodies. We know what happened at that time. But Ramanujacharya looked at all of them in love, and he told them, I want to tell you a few things. First, I want to thank you. I appreciate all the service that you've given to me. It's the first thing Ramanujacharya told his disciples. The second thing is, you served me so well. Now, serve each other with the same intensity that you did to me. So Ramanujacharya made this statement. I'm only repeating it for our own good. If you take devotees just as seriously as you take Guru, you will advance very, very rapidly. So, yes, the Lord has put us here because of our insubordination to him, but his mercy is always here. And he's telling us he comes to this earth, he comes to different parts of the spirit, of the material world to excite his devotees. He can annihilate demons, but even that's a pastime of his. The cowherd boys love it when he kills different demons. But then now we know from Brihad Bhagavatam that he does even more with them, the demons, before they finally leave the bodies. So stay with this course, finish it. It should be the main thing in our lives. How to be Krishna conscious, how to stay Krishna conscious, and how to enthuse others to be Krishna conscious. And serve him like you're serving Guru. And then your way back home is guaranteed. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So thank you for coming on to here. This is the time we meet ourselves. If you have any questions, you can unmute yourself. And I've seen some texts on here, but we could go to questions first. Anyone who wants to ask a question or share some realizations, please unmute yourself now. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, please accept my humble obeisances, Sogas of Prabhupada. One point that you were speaking about, do whatever it takes to get out and go home, and this beautiful pastime of Gopal Kumar. It's I was thinking about a point from your lecture that it's important for us to think of a service that we know that we can get attached to and really grow in that service. Because, for example, that of course, the service that's Krishna conscious. I was thinking about this pastime of Crazy Peter. I mean, who would have ever thought in the wildest dreams that he would be a senior proper disciple who's a Sanskrit scholar, Kushakrata Prabhu, right?
Yes.
That Crazy Peter was as fringy as a hobo, as a homeless, as whatever you want to call it.
Do you remember the pastime? So you can say, because you're talking about it, not everybody knows about Crazy Peter.
Crazy
if you don't,
Peter,
I can say it. I can.
But you can say it. Yeah,
okay,
you can say
when you
it.
finish.
Yeah, so Crazy Peter, nobody wanted him. Even Giriraj Swami was like, well, this dirty guy got to get out of the temple. He's so dirty, hasn't taken a bath, hasn't, washed his hair and clothes and this. But he was attached to one thing, prasadam. He was attached to prasadam and we look in, and he wanted to be with the devotees. He loved the chanting. He loved going out. He loved Harinam. And that's, and he just loved it. That he was
also, he also liked to read books also.
Books, yes. He was a bookworm. He was a bookworm. So he had so many things that he was attached to that's Krishna conscious. Prasadam was one. Eating, Harinam, chanting, reading. He was so attached to anything that's Krishna conscious but because he was so dingy and dirty and, dreadlocks and whatever you want to call it, Prabhupada took him. And next thing you know, he was completely reformed within a matter of weeks. It didn't take him years like how it took us, people generally. Yeah. He was completely reformed within a matter of days and weeks. Next thing you know, you hear Kushakrata Prabhu and the whole of ISKCON starts trembling because he became a Sanskrit scholar. And he translated some of Prabhupada's, books and some of the Vedic scriptures and, Shastra. So I guess the point that I'm saying is, we have been given this gem, Chintamani, the spiritual gem, and we really have to ask ourselves, what will it take for us to be so attached to reading and hearing and chanting and attending classes and service and temple programs and then the list goes on. What is going to make us become so attached to these things that it can replace our material attachments and distractions, that one day, hopefully, we can enter into the spiritual world seeing Krishna crying and hugging us, waiting for us to come back, just as how he did for Gopal Kumar,
Yes.
Yeah, anyway, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Right. So, there's one request on the chat, but I'll get to that a little later. So I just want to add on, you said most of it about this particular devotee. So Crazy Peter, he was called Crazy Peter only because he did some weird things, of which I won't go into detail and describe them because it's already been talked about here. The only thing I want to add is the devotees were getting uncomfortable with him because he didn't really keep himself well. And so they wrote to Srila Prabhupada about this guy. And Crazy Peter was just a nickname they gave him. His name was Peter. So they put the word crazy in front. Finally, they were just kind of tired of him because he was in the wrong place at the wrong time most of the time. When he was supposed to be among other things or somewhere else. So he was just acting irregularly. And when they wrote to the Prabhupada describing him, how uncomfortable they were with him, the Prabhupada wrote back and said, "What's the matter? You cannot tolerate?" This is how he responded to them. You can't tolerate? So that was it. when he responded like that, then the devotees decided to, okay, he's weird, but we leave him alone. Hmm? And then later on, when he left, he went to a different temple. And that's when, as Giriraj Swami describes, um, he came. At that time, he wasn't, Giriraj Swami himself was not Guru yet. They were all, disciples of Srila Prabhupada going. And then they saw, and guys all shaped up, nice Sika, everything. And so Giriraj Swami said, you did not recognize this guy. So he asked, who is that Prabhu over there? He looked at him again, that has to be Crazy Peter. Oh, well, but he didn't say anything. He asked. In his mind, he had kind of identified him. It has to be Crazy Peter. He looks clean, though. Then he said, oh, that is Kushakraj Prabhu. Hmm? Kushakraj Prabhu? This guy? And so that's when devotees changed their mind. So Srila Prabhupada told them, yeah, you cannot tolerate, because of course, Srila Prabhupada knew the kind of personality at the soul level this guy was. Yeah, he became a Sanskrit scholar. He translated several books, and some of them are very, 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 very popular. One book, one series that he did with Dhanavir Goswami. I have that name escapes me. Hopefully, it will come back to me, and let's talk about it. But yeah, it's wonderful, wonderful service that he did. So don't take any devotee for granted. Many people in Navadvip did not know who Lord Chaitanya was also. They were calling him Nimai. That's all. They knew he was very smart, but he didn't know he was the Supreme Personality himself. So Garga Samhita, Garga Samhita, 17 volumes, 17 books. Kushakar Prabhu did all of the translation of the Sanskrit. And Dhanavir Goswami gave the purports, just the same style as Srila Prabhupada gives purports. Okay, I think there is a question. I'm reading. Vishaba Das Prabhu, dear Prabhu, can you give an example of how to serve equals and juniors on an equal level as a spiritual master? As it seems, we serve them a little different way than the seniors. Okay. So how to serve everybody? It's all mental. If you don't literally postpone serving Guru, which is what should be, don't postpone serving Guru. Don't postpone serving devotees either. I'll tell you one story. This was in Giranagri. So that was a few decades back, 30 years maybe, in the 90s. Yeah. And myself and one Mataji were in Titi Radhadamada's kitchen. We were preparing breakfast. The deity quantity thing had already been done, and the deities had been offered pancakes and a few other things. So pancakes were being, more pancakes were being made. And we were listening to Srimad Bhagavatam class at the same time. At that time, there was a speaker in the kitchen. So in the temple room, when the person is speaking, we can also hear in the kitchen. So me and this particular Mataji, who is my god sister, we were preparing pancakes, more pancakes. And what did she say? Well, yeah, I was just saying, telling a few things that we should do in order to, do a nice job making these pancakes. And to cut a long story short, he says, it doesn't matter. Do it any way you can. The devotees, they'll eat anything. That's the comment that she made. I was shocked when I heard that. Devotees will eat anything? But that's the mentality. That's her mentality about devotees. Devotees don't matter, which means she takes devotees for granted. Now, if you see her now, she's very changed, very purified. She's leading some things. She goes to between Europe and Maipo, back and forth. Married, got children, and she's Giranagi is a place you go. You get purified, but you go with all our stuff. So this was the time that she made that particular comment. Now she's very, very, very fixed up, devotee. But yeah, that's the point we're making. Just think simply, if Guru was here telling me to do this, what kind of effort would I put in? What kind of attention would I pay to it? what he's asked. Do the same thing for everybody. If you're nice, and you would be nice to Guru, therefore you should have the same kind of feeling towards devotees. Even if you didn't offer obeisances, you offer obeisances to Guru, but you can say Hare Krishna to everybody, and you should say Hare Krishna with the same kind of intensity as you would say Hare Krishna Maharaj to a Guru. You may not say Maharaj to the other person because he's not Maharaj, but the intention behind it should be of the same intensity as you treat, as you relate to Guru when you see him. Krishna wants it that way. Ramanuja definitely said it to his disciples. Treat yourselves the same way you treated me. Then you will really grow. So hopefully that is a little bit help. Hare Krishna. More things are coming.
Can I add something to what Vishal question?
Let me read one thing he said.
Sure.
A couple of things, which is very nice. So one of the points is to give the best for the devotees. Exactly, because you give the best to Guru. And also be polite. Exactly, because you're polite to Guru. Yeah, so you're getting it. Absolutely. Okay, now go ahead.
Yeah, very nice question, Vishava Prabhu. So, as per Bhakti Chura Swami's Vaishnava etiquette, which I always love to refer to, is the etiquette with equals is they are your friend. And even though they are your friend, there has to still be love, politeness, friendship, respect that goes on. That still never goes away. It's just that it's a friendship level, but the love and respect and compassion and all that is still there. For junior, it's you give affection, but still there should be love and respect and politeness and service attitude and all that. Because even if someone is a junior, you still serve them because they are still masters. So the relationship is from to a junior is affection, care, compassion, but the service attitude should also be there. That always stays the same. So at the end of the day, whether one is a junior, one is an equal, or a senior, we should treat them the way we want to be treated. That's the point, and that is the goal. And of course, depending on the relationship, whether it's an equal or a junior or the senior, there will be a little bit different based on because of the seniority or the junior or the equal. But the concept or the bottom line still stays the same. Treat them the way you want to be treated. So that's what I wanted to share.
Especially for equals. Sometimes for seniors, being being careful how you relate to them and so on. That many people get because the spiritual master is there and spiritual master is in the position that he is. But when it comes to those who are equals, one thing is, yes, we should respect each other. But for equals is where we can crack jokes too. We can be kind of just like the cowherd boys are. They are nice to each other, but they also play around with each other. For those who are peers, we can do that with them. You won't crack jokes so much with somebody who is junior to you, but you show, care to them. That's what's explained. And you're more reverential to those who are senior to you. And you definitely learn from their experience that they have, the senior devotees. Pick their brains, let them tell you more about Krishna consciousness. That's one big advantage. But, peers, it's like, the boys and, girls, like people have girls' night and then I'm not saying you should do that, but the kind of mentality that comes with it, that, people just crack jokes and that kind of stuff. Even when you're cracking jokes, so be careful not to crack expensive jokes that would make somebody upset. That you don't want to do. But, take things very, very, very lightly. With peers, that is. Okay. Thank you anyway for your input too. One question. Can you please clarify how do you process happiness in Krishna consciousness that is different from processing happiness from a material experience? Material experience is actually material happiness is actually fake. We think we're happy because sometimes acquiring things in the material world makes us feel, gives us some kind of satisfaction, especially since I have this kind of toy. This other person can't afford that toy, so I'm living better. I'm having more things, and I have opportunity to travel more because I have the money. I have the opportunity to travel more in style, go to business class and flight, and other people can't do that. In other words, the convenience that comes with it, people tend to be more satisfied with it. But we say it's fake because two things. One is temporary, and two, anything in the material world can turn from so-called happy to sour in a minute. There were people in the business class in that flight that left in India and crashed in only a few seconds. They were in first class. They had the money. They had the perks and everything of being in first class. And what happened? It cost them their lives. So material happiness, it may be there, but we should always have at the back of our minds, this is only temporary. The temporary part of it. If you don't see the fake part of it, at least you see the temporary part. We say fake because things can turn sour in just a moment, just like that. And not long, a few days back, it rained, and there was even more rain than usual, and well over 100 people died in Texas from a flood. And Texans live pretty decently. Texas is quite a rich state. And I've been there, and the way they live, Houston, Dallas, they all live well. But then, in a minute, things change, and now people get swept away. So that's material world. There's always danger. And that's why the material, so-called happiness material, should never, on the material level, should never be taken seriously or just, oh yeah, this is it, I have arrived. No, we haven't arrived anywhere. Death will come and take everything away from us anyway. Now, spiritual happiness, that comes from taking the process of sadhana bhakti seriously. When we serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead based on the instructions of a spiritual master, and we do our very best, it does not mean we won't make mistakes. Everybody is prone to mistakes. That will happen. But our intention, the mental part, there should be no mistake there. The mental part is, I'm going to do the best that I can, the best possible. In other words, you don't hold back, because Krishna does not like when devotees hold back things they could do and didn't do. That means they don't really love Krishna, not trying to love Krishna. Therefore, even if we make mistakes when we're serving, and that will happen because there's a tendency, it's all part of human nature to make mistakes, our intention should always be to give our best. And when we do that and we stay consistent with that, there is a happiness that comes internally. It's the soul that wakes up. And when you begin to feel that way, nothing in the material world bothers us. Yes, the disturbances from the material world will be there, but the mind will transcend it. And so things that used to bother us materially, now we look at it as it's part of, I'm not going to worry about it. Because inside they're very happy. You also, when you're materially happy, you would see that people will pick up on it. And people around you will feel happy to be around you. That's also a sign of spiritual happiness. People around you will feel very, very happy to be around you. Now, can you jumpstart that? Yes. Can you jumpstart like a car that's got a dead battery? You have to put the jumpstart cables to get it to go? Yeah. Be around people who are enthusiastic and do what they do, because they will pick you up. Your energy's up. And then you begin to feel happy. But most important, we have been told the steps for living a devotee life. There should be some austerity. And our austerity is Getting up and Brahmahuta hour, that's getting up early, which is the best time of the day, by the way, early in the morning. Even metaphysically, it is the best time. Give that to Krishna. Chant the holy name. If you cannot finish all 16 rounds, finish a good bit of it before you start your day. Put Krishna first. You put him first, he'll put you first. Like that. And literally, over time, the happiness will grow on you. You'll feel better, you'll feel better, you feel better. And then you show in your face also. People say, oh, you look better. When your soul wakes up, your face will look better. Same face, but it looks brighter. So that's all there for us. And then when you go to spiritual, that the bliss is unbelievable. That's waiting for us. Hare Krishna. Hopefully that helps. Okay, so there are more comments. We should care for devotees like we care for Guru. Yes, we mentioned that. Let me see. Maybe we also accept corrections from them, okay, as well as see to it what's appropriate and applicable. Yeah, the answer, yes, all of that. It's part of our humility to accept corrections. Now, speaking about corrections, those who are giving corrections, one of the tips to not offend somebody when you're correcting them is not talk about what the fault is. I'll say it again. Don't talk about the fault. Talk about the solution. What could be done? Not you've done this bad, but this is what you should do. Change that, because it's the same message. Only one of them you are instructing or you're advising. If the person is quite insolent, then you say, what I have been taught is so and so and so and so. So you don't put yourself as a master dictating to the other person, but you say, I learned it and I'm just sharing it. So don't, if you point the things that are wrong, they can tell you that you're criticizing them. But if you go with the solution part, it could be done this way, or I have been taught when I was in this place, we were taught like this. That's why I do that way. Then you send the message to them. Rather than talk about what they did wrong, talk about what they could do right based on what you've been trained. The same message, but the second one doesn't offend, whether the other one could be read as criticism when you come directly and say how badly things are. So that's one other tip also. Hare Krishna. I'm looking at the time now. It's 9:15. Maybe we can wrap it up. Any final questions? Okay. So thank you all for coming on this morning. It was nice kind of relating to everybody, albeit through text. It was fun. I always have fun talking with devotees by the mercy of the spiritual master and, of course, Lord Chaitanya himself, Lord Nityananda. So you all have a wonderful day wherever you are. Vanchakapatarubeschya kripa sindhive evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Thank you again. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Thank you, Babuji.
Hare Krishna, glory to Prabhupada, and glory to Chandramal Swami. He's my hero, actually.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. My
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna.
pranam to you.
Jai.
Humble obeisances to Guru Maharaj. And happy
Jai.
Guru Purnima to everyone. Happy Guru Purnima.
Jai.
And wonderful, wonderful class. Thank you so
Krishna's
much. What
mercy,
a wonderful
Guru's
explanation.
mercy. Jai.
Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Krishna's mercy. Hare Krishna. Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Prabhu, for the wonderful class. Hare Krishna.